started this together. So we hang out with each other. We also work out together. Except for the time we go back home and we sleep in our own beds, we're almost always in and around each other.
Any interaction with celebrities that you want to speak about?
Arjun Kapoor was great. I think we have worked with him, twice in the last 6 months.
Awesome.
And he's fabulous. He himself will shout silence and he'll do his own production, and we are like, yeah, we are getting an artist plus a production guy.
Great.
So he's an amazing person to work.
Hardik is fun, yeah.
Because
So yeah, I mean, we had him as a brand ambassador. He loved the products, he loved the designs. Super chill guy.
How do you balance your work life and, let's say, commitment to family and home?
Very blurred lines.
I think my son is also learning CAC. So I don't think so there's nothing called work-life balance.
Our dream license at that time was DC, right? We've all been fans of Batman and Superman. We approached Warner and we told them we want the DC license, right? Straight. No shame, no sharam, nothing.
Keep your needs very limited. It doesn't matter how much you earn, it's about how much do you spend.
Most first jobs don't pay very well. We didn't have an IIM degree, which also became an issue initially when we were trying to get funding.
You don't have to harm animals to look cool. The supply chain for the vegan products is very good in India, which is supplied abroad.
One philosophy that we have at the Soul Store is everything is figure outable. You have to wake up every day thinking there is going to be something new. Kuch fatega, kuch tootega.
If you want to be an entrepreneur, just please be fine with uncertainty. All the words that you learn in MBAs, I think you need to let go of all.
Okay, you have to undo your MBA.
Yes, I'm making very old.
Yeah, you suddenly feel very old. Okay, maybe we'll cut it. Hello and welcome to the brand new podcast, Risk and Riches, brought to you by KlarifyLife, an initiative of HDFC Life Insurance. In this podcast, we bring to you the world of young entrepreneurs and discuss with them often overlooked issues of business building and financial planning. Today we have with us two young founders, Disha Singh, co-founder of Zouk, and Harsh, co-founder of the Soul Store, with us on this show. So welcome to the show, Disha and Harsh, and really glad you're here on our first podcast. So let's start a little bit. Maybe we'll start with you, Disha, first. How does this whole idea of entrepreneurship start? What was your journey like? And just take our audience through a little bit about that.
Sure. So, Vishal, the whole idea of Zouk came to me in the second year of MBA. So, I did my MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. So, for one of the courses, we go to Kutch, and along with the course material, we also visit a lot of local art and craft. So, while me and my friend were visiting a lot of craft cultures, we realized that all of us were really proud of the kind of work they are doing, the high craftsmanship which is there. But at the end of the day, what we realized was none of us bought anything. And this was specifically in the case of bags. And that intrigued me. And I was like, why are we not buying, even if we are liking what we are seeing? And two things came out of it. One was that people said that these bags are too bright. Once I graduate from campus, I have to go to office and I have to carry a bag there. And then they realized that this is a very bright, like a red color, orange color. It will not fit my modern sensibility. And then the second thing that came out was it was not functional enough. So for the lack of better word, they were the jhola looking bags.
Right.
So they'll not have the laptop compartment and so on and so forth. And that got me thinking. I did my own research and I looked at, and which holds true today as well, that all the bags brand which were there at that point of time and today as well, we're just copying the West and not making for the Indian women. And that was the gap that I...
So you were in college, you were on this study trip, and you figured out this marketplace, and you decided to build a company out of it.
It sounds very simple, but I think it was a lot more steps than that.
What about your story?
I was wasting a lot more time in college than Disha for sure.
Yeah. So what was your story? How did you guys end up founding the Soul Store?
We started the Soul Store back in 2013. Feels like a long journey now. But yeah, we've all been fans of pop culture. So we've grown up watching Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Harry Potter, Friends, comics, football, music, etc. Right? And back in 2013, what we realized was when you wanted to buy any product of your favorite characters, you either had a 200, 300 rupee fake option off the streets, where you can't trust the quality, right? Whether it lasts you one wash or 5 washes is a bit of a lottery. The other option was you have a cousin somewhere in the US or the UK, and every time they come back for their summer vacations, they get it for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, as kids, you're not going to spend 2,000-3,000 rupees on a t-shirt, right? You don't have that kind of pocket money.
Yeah.
We also realized that in India, there was obviously a strong fan base of all of these characters, all of these fandoms. But you had one end of the spectrum, which is very low quality and low price, and the other end, which is higher quality but unaffordable
How
price.
old were you when you started this?
So we were 23, 24, and that's
How
the
about
gap
you?
that we wanted to
I was
solve.
26.
You're 26, right?
Yeah.
So starting this in your mid-20s, essentially, right? Just out of college. So you had a job after college and you worked there for about a year.
Yeah.
And you also worked for
Pretty
a year.
much the same,
And then you guys figured out that ये job market नहीं है हमारे लिए मतलब we are not made for the cookie cutter jobs. Let's start our own businesses. But one of the things that we are discussing here is about the ability to take risk and the willingness to take risk, right? You worked hard to get into a good college, get a good degree, and then kind of keep all that aside and get into entrepreneurship and put your own capital in some sense, or friends and family capital. So how did you think about risk at that point of time, or there was no downside and therefore you thought you could always go back to the job if this failed? Both of you.
Yeah, I think for us, we all had our first jobs out of college, worked for about a year, year and a half. Most first jobs don't pay very well. So your collective savings at the end of a year, year and a half were not significant. We pulled in, I think, about 5.5 lakhs totally into the business and completely bootstrapped it for the first 5.5 years. But we were very, very clear, right? We all had decent degrees and decent marks. We knew we could always go back and get a job at some point in time. We didn't have an IIM degree, which also became an issue initially when we were trying to get funding. But yeah, we always knew that it's a sort of passion project, and the longer you make this run, the longer you don't have to go back to a job. I think that was our incentive back in 2013.
Yeah. What about you, Disha? Was it
I think,
similar or was
like
it very different?
as Harsha said, that the first jobs don't pay so well. I think post IMA they do pay very well, and I think that was a big issue.
Fair enough.
Like my family was not at all in for it. But see, what I've realized is then and now also holds true is that if you keep your needs very limited, it doesn't matter how much you earn. It's about how much do you spend.
Right.
And I think that was the whole premise. I didn't take anything from my family. I was supported by, in fact, IIM Ahmedabad. So
The incubator.
they have, yeah. So they have a scholarship that they give to IIM entrepreneurs. So it was for a year. And I think that really helped me scale. But to be very frank, I think Pradeep and I also together, I think pulled in some 20 lakhs.
Pradeep is your husband and co-founder.
Yes.
And he's also from the IIM.
He's the batchmate.
Okay.
So I think we pulled in together, I think 20 lakhs of our savings, and we bootstrapped for 3 years before taking any institutional funding. I think for us, it was very important that you keep everything very tight.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you scale, you keep your need. You should know that you're building this for the long term.
Right.
And you have to build accordingly. I think that has kept us floating.
And I think the typical Indian mentality of frugality, you know what, let's say, is often called as jugaad, but it's more frugality and jitni chadar utna pair phaila wala
100%.
structure. That works in the earlier years, right? And, so what we've done with Klarify Life, right? A lot of young people want to know about insurance and try and make it simple for them in terms of information and, go after the younger audiences, the Gen Zs, the millennials, typically let's say the people under 35 years. Your audience is typically also in that age group. So how did you guys have the clarity to go after this segment and, then come out with let's say a minimum viable product and a final product subsequently?
I mean, at least as far as we're concerned, I don't think we thought that much when we were 23, 24 years old. Basically we had about 5.5 lakhs of pooled in savings. Our first office was basically a shared office space or a conference room in a chawl with another person, I think about 300-400 square feet between two companies, literally one cupboard full of t-shirts. We got one of our friends to basically create our website because he wanted a project to work on and we wanted a cheap developer. So yeah, I think when you have limited funds, you just figure a way. And we've gone through the usual ups and downs, right? Vendors commit certain timelines, they don't end up doing it. You spend the whole day outside the vendor's factory. Qualities are all over the mark,
and because you were 4 of you, you could kind of distribute the responsibilities and manage this through a lot of hustle.
So to be very honest, there were not a lot of responsibilities in the start. I think everyone did everything.
Passion project.
Absolutely. Everyone is sitting outside the vendor's office. Everyone is answering customer care calls. Everyone is packing the products. There wasn't enough work for 4 people in the start, but yeah, everyone just got involved in everything.
Okay, great. So let's shift gears a little bit. Let's speak about the financial side of running this business, right? Yeah. How did you get your first money? Was bootstrapped, but after that you went out to raise funds. What was your first experience like? And how many people did you pitch to and what was your success?
Very interesting experience. Luckily, like I said, 3 of my co-founders have a finance background. So they've done modeling for a bunch of companies.
Okay.
So it was very easy relatively for them to predict what the next 5 and what the next 10 years look like. What definitely helped at that time, and I think what's helped us throughout our journey of fundraising, is you build a sensible, sustainable, profitable company, and eventually people will want. I think the one learning that we've had, right, and this is even for us, you cannot predict the future. It's very easy for us to sit today and say, 3 years down the line, I will do X, and 5 years down the line, I will do Y. 6 months down the line, I could be completely.
Yeah, the trends change very rapidly, and that's what
Very
Disha, you were also talking about. So you remember the first consumer who bought your product?
I don't, but I would put my money on it being one of our friends or family.
One of your friends or family.
Yeah, I think the first month or so, I think everyone has to have one pity purchase, right?
Okay,
My friends have started their own company. Chalo, एक t-shirt खरीद लेते हैं. Let them also feel good. Let them feel like orders are coming in. So every day you will have like 2 orders.
So that is
3
what in
orders.
life insurance is called a natural market of an agent, right? Once somebody becomes an insurance agent, they kind of go out and speak to their natural market, the friends and family.
But once that tap runs dry, then you really understand, do I have a business for the rest of India or do I not?
Yeah, that's true.
So Disha, what was your experience after being bootstrapped? Who wrote the first check for you beyond the incubator that you?
Sure. So the first check was written by Titan Capital, which is the fund via Rohit and Kunal. So we spoke to
The
Bipin
Snapdeal
first.
guys,
The Snapdeal guys. So Bipin's the partner there, spoke to us first, and I think we are a very story first people. So we believe that all consumer brands needs to have a very strong story,
Right.
and of course a very strong product. But story is very important for brands to be created, and I think they also saw that vision, and they also realized that there is a gap in this market which is very unorganized. And then Harsh said that in their case they figured out a gap. For us, this was the gap, that in mass premium there was no aspirational brand. I think that's what they banged upon, I think, and they have been betting on us for the last 3 rounds now, I think, which they have never done. So we are very lucky to have those investors.
And you guys, when you built this whole store, you got into merchandise, right? And Friends and Big Bang Theory, and then expanded.
Correct.
So just a bit about how do you go ahead, like a young startup in Mumbai, going after and talking to these big brands and about merchandising.
Yeah.
And I mean, how did they kind of assess you? Didn't they see any risk with 23, 24-year-old kids coming to them?
They did. So our, like we were discussing, I think our dream license at that time was DC, right? We've all been fans of Batman and Superman growing up. It's
Coming back to the passion project.
100% passion project. So I remember we approached Warner and we told them we want the DC license, right? Straight. No shame, no sharam, nothing. We just want to go for glory. So they told us, why don't you guys start off with Friends and the Big Bang Theory? Let us see what kind of work you guys do on the designing the product. And why don't you all earn the right to get the DC license, right? It's not a license that you give anyone and everyone. So what usually happens when you get a license is you get a style guide, which is a sort of content library with logos, designs, artwork, fonts, taglines, etc. Most brands will take that style guide, they'll copy paste that Bazinga logo or just the Friends logo on a t-shirt and sell it. Now, because we were fans and we didn't understand the licensing business, we just redesigned the range completely.
So, Harsh, you've been running this for 11 years, Disha now for 5 years. And, obviously that original element of dekhte hain kya hoga is over. Yeah, now like on the treadmill, you have to grow, you've got investors. But sometimes you end up kind of assessing a lot of risks in the business. Should I go offline? Should I not go offline? Should I expand to this territory? Should I launch a new product? So what potentially, are the 1 or 2 big risks that you have taken, big bets you have taken? Some of it may have paid out, some of it may not have paid out. And how do you kind of think about it and manage it?
Oh, I think there are a lot of these. I think every day we take decisions which we are not sure
where a lot of money is involved, let's say, or you guys control it, like, okay, let's just experiment with and let's not expose ourselves too much.
Sure. I think so. I think this happened to us last year. So unlike everybody else in our category, we never had a brand ambassador. So lifestyle is dominated by brand ambassador. I think last year we signed Sara Ali Khan. And I think that was, of course, a big ticket item. That is one we were very skeptical about. And more than the money, I think we were very worried about because we have built a brand which stands for authenticity, for modern Indian women. Will our consumers connect with it? And that was the biggest risk that we had at that point of time. And I think we ran a lot of internal surveys, popping those 4-5 celebrities' name, trying to understand what user persona, everything. I think I have never been stalking Bollywood celebrities ever in my
Okay.
life. I think that's the only thing I
Yeah.
did last year when we were signing, and I think that paid off very well. She was taken up very well with our customers, but I think that is one risk. I think second, what Harsh was talking about, when to start offline. Because offline, at the end of the, you need to start it at the right time, and you need to have the right understanding of what will work and what will not work, and at least at initial GTM. So we started our first store, I think, exactly a year back,
Okay.
which also we felt that maybe was a little earlier, but for any offline businesses also to settle, I think it takes minimum 2 to 3 years to get there, I think, and we laid the stone there. So I think these are the two big risks in terms of capital that we took, and I think both of them are pretty fine for now.
Awesome.
And Harsh, you have also signed up a celebrity cricketer.
Yeah, so I think we've taken a bunch of risks in our life, and like Disha said, I think every day you're taking a decision with a decent amount of uncertainty or unpredictability. Whether it's a new license, it's a new category that we're getting into, it's the first store that we signed. We always made sure that we are taking risks that we can afford to completely tank. I think that's one. The second is whenever we are taking any bets, we never go all in, right? You will always start small. So when we started our first offline store, it was expensive. It's at Linking Road, Bandra. It's probably one of the most expensive places.
I know
open a
about
store.
it. We are trying to get it, but we are not.
It is expensive. So our philosophy was simple, right? If offline stores have to succeed as a business, let us take a great location, right? So if it doesn't work, location is not the issue. Maybe the brand is not suited for offline. But the moment you take an off location at a lower end, and it doesn't succeed, you're basically setting yourself up for failure. So we always take smaller bets. Once we see success, I think the agility of the company to double down and really scale up is what's helped us stay ahead of the curve.
Perfect.
And yeah, I mean, coming to your question, yes, we have Hardik on board. I mean, he's been a brand ambassador for the last couple of years. And we've recently announced that he's also invested in the company. It's been a fantastic journey. We also have Sara Ali Khan as an investor in the Soul Store. So,
I spoke to Aditya also before that, so I did my research.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
absolutely. So,
Yeah.
great coincidence.
Yeah. No, at HDFC Life, we have Rishabh as our ambassador, and primarily talking about the need for protection and term insurance, and how do you manage, secure your life in some sense. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
We've spoken about how your businesses have grown, how you've managed that risk. But at a personal level, any thoughts about life insurance in general? When did you first kind of think about it, if you ever thought about it?
So I
Or
think
it's never crossed your mind?
I think initially we never had the money to think about life insurance. I think, but I think in the last couple of years, so I have a 2.5-year-old. So I realized, I think after our marriage, after the first kid was born, I think that is when we started thinking about not us as an individual, but us as a family as well. So I think that's when we started looking at life insurances, savings, I think term insurance as well. And I think one of the things we were discussing is that today's generation gets very, they're not very sure of different products that different banks have. And we run a lot of courses in our company as well, by the way.
Educating people on basically financial literacy.
Yes. So we realize that it's very early, and today's generation is very, unlike us, they are very pro. In terms of saving very early on, earning very early on, and I've seen that in Mumbai specifically. So I am not from Bombay, so I think it's been 2.5 years, but I think it's very important that banks tell about their products in a manner that Gen Z understands. Let me put it this way.
Okay. No, that is exactly what we've tried to do with Klarify Life. It's an initiative from our side where you can read content which is in some sense very simple, written. It is jargon free,
not by lawyers,
and it's also snackable. Yeah, I mean it's not a contract in some sense. That's how we have written it. What about your personal financial planning? How do you do it? You do it independently? You have an advisor?
So I have an advisor. Honestly, it's something which I'm not very familiar with. So yeah, save more than you spend. Put it in mutual funds, have an insurance, all of the basics. But yeah, it's something we don't have other priorities as such. So yeah, we
sure. I mean, focus on the business and have an expert.
In that sense. But yeah.
But the final call is yours, I presume.
It is.
I'll take it as a yes. Just maybe a quick rapid fire kind of thing.
Sure.
We can go with you, Harsh, first, or just alternate between the two of you. Yeah. So, what's the most expensive purchase you've made?
It's my car, but I'm also not a car person. I don't have, I think my passions or where I like spending my time is on travels and playing snooker and tennis. I don't really care much for cars or gadgets or clothes.
But that's your most
Clothes are
expensive
clothes.
purchase.
Yeah, clothes are obviously taken care of. So
What about you, Disha?
Our Australia trip. When we
Okay.
couldn't afford it, I think
A foreign
that's the
trip,
time
okay.
we
those will be
went
the
it.
ones that you remember the most.
Yes,
later
that's
on.
what I mean.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say, somebody gives you a cachet of money, let's say a crore or 5 crores, whatever that number is. Where would you invest it outside of your business?
I was going to say the place I'm most confident of growing the money would basically putting it back in the sold store. I would most likely put it in mutual funds. I think I'm a more risk averse person
Okay.
generally. So yeah, I'd probably put
So
it.
basically diversification
Yeah.
of assets. Yeah.
I think I will divide it between, of course, putting in mutual funds, and second is I would like to support women entrepreneurs. So which we in
Okay.
small quantum.
So give it
do.
to the next generation of
Yes,
entrepreneurs, and you
yes.
yourself have had some
Yes.
mentorship from
Yes.
Women entrepreneurs. Yeah. One thing that comes to your mind when I say what next?
International expansion.
For us, offline expansion.
Offline expansion.
Yes.
Okay. So international expansion, offline expansion. So basically all about growth and
Yeah.
just how do you balance your let's say your work life and let's say commitment to family and home and everything else beyond work?
Very blurred lines.
Very blurred lines.
Yeah.
Okay. Work and life go together in some sense.
Pretty much. I mean, 4 friends started this together, so we hang out with each other. We also work out together. We basically, except for the time we go back home and we sleep in our own beds, we're almost always
Okay.
in and around each other.
I think my son is also learning CAC. So I don't think so there is any
Okay.
We'll have a third
Customer
co-founder.
acquisition cost.
there is
Your son
no
is running. Okay.
there is no there's nothing called work-life balance. I think at least for the founders, because this
Yeah.
is our life.
No, I think, yeah, great point. You're always thinking, right? Even if you're on vacation, it's a weekend, there's always something at the back of your mind that's playing. So
I was trying to spot bags in Vietnam.
Okay.
At airport and anywhere, and I was looking at कि ये लोग कौन से bags बनाते हैं. So
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah,
just
you're
switch
constantly
off.
can't
looking for
switch off.
bags.
You
You're
can't switch
constantly looking for, let's say, accessories, merchandise,
Yeah.
clothes, etc. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, any interaction with celebrities that you want to speak about?
Hardik is fun, yeah.
Hardik is fun.
Yeah, I mean, we had him as a brand ambassador. He loved the products, he loved the designs. Super chill guy. I think what you imagine of a celebrity and what he is probably at opposite ends of the spectrum. Very, very chill guy, just joking, having fun. Tell him to jump, sing, dance, stand on his head. Super, super nice guy to work with.
Perfect. What about you?
I think for us, Arjun Kapoor was great. I think we have worked with him, I think twice in the last 6 months.
Okay.
And he's fabulous. He is just too much fun on the set. He himself will shout silence.
Okay.
And he'll do his own production, and we are like, yeah, we are getting an artist plus a production guy.
Great.
So he's an amazing person to work with.
And you also work with Pariniti?
We work with Pariniti as well, yeah. She's also a gem of a person. But with
Okay.
Arjun, there's a different level of fun because now we have worked with twice. And he was telling us, कि आप मुझे थोड़ा और लंबा sign कर लो. Let's keep on working together. But
Okay.
he's great to work with.
So yeah, just towards the end. So one lesson to young budding entrepreneurs that you would like to give?
I think the one philosophy that we have at the Soul Store is everything is figure outable. There is nothing that you're going to know with 100% certainty, no matter how far into the business you are. But you have to wake up every day thinking there is going to be something new. कुछ फटेगा, कुछ टूटेगा, but
रास्ते खुल जाएंगे, रास्ते
we'll
मिल जाएंगे.
manage. Yeah, somehow I think we will figure it out. I think you always have to have that mindset. Otherwise, you're going to get really, really bogged down with the amount of uncertainty that comes.
I think because I do talk to a lot of young entrepreneurs, because IMA connects me, my mentors connects me. I think one thing that today's entrepreneurs thinks a lot is about, I think Harsh's point extension only, that too much planning. They think too much, that they want too much certainty in life. There is no, like if you want to be an entrepreneur, just please be fine with uncertainty, or this is not the path for you. Because I think today also what we do, like how our day looks, might be very different than our calendar at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it is very, very important that you are fine with uncertainty, because it takes a different breed of person to run a company and be fine with.
You're flexible to the situation and don't get locked into just a pure Excel sheet.
When you try to do, pros and cons, opportunity costs, all the words that you learn in MBA. So I think you need to let go of all that.
Okay, you have to undo your MBA in
to
some
undo
sense.
your
There
After
are very
working so
few
hard to
times an
get there.
Excel sheet has actually
Yeah.
been even
100%.
70% accurate.
Yeah.
Any message around personal finance, to the viewers?
I think for us, Arjun Kapoor was great. I think we have worked with him, I think twice in the last 6 months. And he's fabulous.
Any message around personal finance, to the viewers?
I think
to entrepreneurs like yourself
Yeah.
or emerging entrepreneurs?
So I think two things. One is if you're planning to start your business, a lot of people ask me when should you start it, what is the right time. I don't think there is, but if I had to sort of take a step back, I would say maybe work for at least some amount of time so that you have some savings. I think you have a safety net. Don't just absolutely jump into it, because if it doesn't work out, and a lot of times it won't, you should have a safety net. The second is, I think when you work at an organization, I think the discipline, the culture, understanding how things work before you start your organization
Also
was
helps.
super helpful for us. And the second, on the financial sort of responsibility and planning, definitely start earlier, start saving. I know when you get out of college, it's always fun when you don't have pocket money and you're earning your own cash and you want to spend it, but just be sensible.
Save for the rainy day, effectively.
Absolutely. I think when you're in your late 20s and early 30s,
Right.
you will have enough money to have all the indulgences that you want.
So I think generic advice for the entrepreneurs, I think please ask for help. I think as a society we don't ask for help a lot, and I think
Yeah.
I found the like asking for help the best thing that I have done for myself as an entrepreneur. I think secondly, on the personal finances side, I think the one thing would be start planning early on. While if there is no right and wrong planning, it's planning at the end of the day. So whatever you have, please start saving, because at the end of the day, there will be a day where you will require that for yourself or for your family, or for your business. I think that small saving comes a long way, and sometimes people feel that 10 years is a very long horizon for a term and all, but 10 years passes like this. So the earlier you start, the earlier you get the benefit of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, those are some great insights. I'm sure it will resonate with the people viewing this, and people will be motivated looking at your journeys, and 5 years for you, a decade for you, and
I suddenly feel very old.
yeah, you suddenly
I
feel very
also
good.
felt.
Okay, maybe we'll cut it, edit
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
No, they're really good learnings for the people who are watching this, right? And just one last parting message that you want to give about why initiatives like Klarify Life are that important.
Yeah, I think the closest analogy for us when you're running your own organization is there is just too much uncertainty in life. I think whatever you can save for, whatever you can plan for, and whatever you can solve for, you might as well. I think that's probably, yeah, in that sense, insurance and sort of starting your own organization have that overlap or that synergy.
Yeah, I think this initiative is very important because in India, at least for the younger generation, they don't understand the importance of insurance, and by the time they understand, I think it's slightly little late. I think premiums also increases.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's always better to start earlier. Then you also have a relationship with the banker that you're working with, and that's what I tell all the people who join us early on, that start thinking about these small because their investments are very small, but the kind of net they give you, the kind of savings that they give you at the end of the day is very, very important. And that kind of headache you don't want on your this care kal ko ye ho gaya, to what am I going to do?
Correct.
For that matter,
Yeah.
right? I think this initiative is very important. Just one request: if we can tie up with different organizations and have this reach more people, that'll be great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Disha. Thank you, Harsh.
Thank you.
Real good insights, I think. Protect the downside, number one. Start saving early and invest in your future beyond your entrepreneurial journeys, right? And whatever you put in the business. So that's essentially the feedback. So, everyone out there, if you're looking to take control of your family's financial future, don't forget to check out the Klarify Life term insurance guide on the platform. It's a great way to get started on life insurance. Thank you so much for watching this podcast, and we'll be back with another one very soon.